Olá, nós estamos aqui com o Ian Eric, o líder global de pesquisa da ESG. Obrigado por vir, Ian Eric. Eu queria te perguntar, a primeira pergunta, você está uma semana no Brasil e você tem uma visão geral dos fornecedores de Brasil. Qual é a tua impressão geral do mercado fornecedor de tecnologia no Brasil?
Well, first I want to say it's been a fantastic opportunity to be here in Sao Paulo, beautiful Sao Paulo, after a couple of years. And we had an amazing award ceremony. In fact, it was the largest in the entire world. We did 5 different ceremonies, and the number of providers that we had at this ceremony, plus the TGT advisors, was larger than anywhere else. And it was really a fantastic event. I learned a lot just at the event that I think represents what's going on in Brazil. As we talked to different providers sitting at our dinner table, and as we visited them over this last week, every one of them are doing their best years. And it really proves that the partnership and the trust that has been building over the years was proven, was put to the test. And not only did the providers step up and do amazing things for their clients, but their clients trusted them more. They had on their objectives, how do I shore up my cybersecurity? How do I make sure I'm protecting the data of my clients? How am I progressing through my digital transformation, and how am I moving things to the cloud? Very similar to what we see everywhere else in the world, but what we saw here in Brazil is probably a more intense move to the cloud, because as we know, Brazil is the second largest market from a mainframe perspective. So there's a lot of applications still sitting on the mainframe. Many of them needed to have access to their clients through the web. So that's really one of the things that we saw specifically, and we heard from every provider that we talked to. I think the other thing that was very unique is at our event, we had a lot of very small niche players, and I think that's very unique to Brazil. Many of them have had their best years, and they had the abilities the clients were looking for. They were able to ramp up very quickly. I think that really made a difference in how successful both companies have been, as well as the providers.
Nós vimos a mesma coisa no cenário brasileiro. As empresas começaram com um ano difícil, mas acabou que foi o ano mais importante, o melhor ano das indústrias de tecnologia no Brasil. O desafio agora é mão de obra, pelo que a gente viu, né? Muitas empresas estão com dificuldade em mão de obra. Aproveitando que você falou das empresas de nicho, as empresas pequenas, focadas, a minha pergunta para você é: onde você enxerga o Brasil com uma vantagem competitiva? Onde a gente se distingue do resto do mundo em algumas competências peculiares?
So the things that really distinguish Brazil, I think, are the partnerships that we have seen. As I said, many of these small players were at our event, and I was really surprised at how many of them knew each other, and they talked about all of these projects they're doing together. That's something that was very unique. Now, maybe in different countries, we just weren't hearing about it, but I don't think so. I think that there's something unique happening here in Brazil, where those small players are having those opportunities to work with the big players. Maybe it's because there's a shortage of talent, but I don't think so. I think there's been an evolution, whether it's the hyperscalers. AWS is really big here, Google gaining some ground, Microsoft as well has always been here. We're seeing more of a connection with the hyperscaler, but more importantly, we're seeing the system integrators really connecting with those niche players and bringing a whole solution to the client. And I think that's very unique for this market and from what we've seen anywhere else. I think the other thing that's really happening is we're hearing more and more about expanding outside of Brazil. Maybe it's just to LATAM, or maybe it's to the whole world. But that's where I really appreciated what we heard from providers. As we gave them their awards, each of them had the opportunity to talk about why that particular report meant so much to them. And what I heard was pretty amazing. They're really leveraging the position of the provider lens, leadership position with their clients, with investors, to do an IPO. I mean, so many different things that they talked about. I thought that was also very unique. I would love for the rest of the world to hear from those providers here in Brazil how they've been able to leverage being selected and being named a leader not just one time, but for many of them multiple times multiple years in a row. And they really leverage that to tell that story to their clients, tell that story to investors. That was something I thought was very unique.
É muito interessante, de fato, como o ecossistema de fornecedores ele se une. Como são empresas menores em termos de tamanho, de fato existe uma aliança de complementariedade de skills. Eu concordo com você, a gente vê muito isso no mercado brasileiro. A pergunta é, dando sequência, né? Oportunidades, onde que, comparado com o mundo inteiro, onde você enxerga oportunidades para o Brasil melhorar?
I think the opportunities are some of them different and unique for Brazil. I think some of them are what we're seeing across the world. So the biggest opportunity, as I mentioned a moment ago, is what to do with the mainframe. As the second largest mainframe country in the world after the United States, there are decisions that need to be made. I was recently at AWS reInvent in Las Vegas, and Itaú, one of the largest banks here in Brazil, presented an amazing case study about how they're migrating everything to the cloud. And they talked about how they made the decisions, how they're using their different partners to do that, and a very aggressive schedule. And the room was packed. Everyone was so interested in how are they going to do that. I think that that's going to prompt a lot of action. And providers need to be ready for it. And part of it is maybe they need to acquire, maybe they need to acquire skills and capabilities from outside of Brazil. That's the one thing I think the pandemic taught all of us, is that we really can expand our network and how we get things done. And it's okay to bring someone in from Europe or from the US or from wherever and help leverage what you're trying to do for the client. The client is still looking for that one-to-one interaction. So you can't say, oh, nobody in Brazil needs to interact with their clients. That's not true. And in fact, we've just done a customer experience survey. And what that survey tells us is that clients still expect to have that one-to-one relationship, and they're not happy when everything goes remote and goes to different countries. So I think the opportunity in Brazil is to bring the skills here, but also in the reverse is to share the skills outside. Many of the clients here are international, or they're at least expanding to LATAM. And so they're looking for providers that can help them in that expansion. So I think that's a real opportunity. I think the other one is just to go back and look at everything that was done, sometimes in a panic. Did we really set up the best cybersecurity infrastructure? Have we really thought through everything that we moved to the cloud? Do we need to reverse any of that? I think that's true everywhere, and we're hearing that as we spoke to the providers, that's what their clients are asking them to do now, is come back now that the panic is over, and we have a little bit of time to redo or to undo. Let's look at what we did. Let's make sure it was the best thing that we could have done. So I think that's an opportunity, maybe not so much unique for Brazil, but definitely the export and import of resources to support clients in Brazil is an opportunity.
Em termos de oportunidade, eu vejo muito movimento em termos de fusões e aquisições também, por causa desses nichos, desses trabalhos que vão demandar um esforço multidisciplinar e também pela demanda que a gente tem recebido dos clientes. Então, eu queria ouvir um pouquinho se você tem essa sensação de M&A, se está chegando.
And we're seeing that across the world. And it's not just the big players. Now it's going to be the medium-sized and even the smaller players. Maybe some of them are going to just have a joint partnership. Maybe others they're going to actually acquire. What we're seeing already is we had a great meeting just yesterday, and the provider said it doesn't always have to be about an acquisition or a formal partnership. We can, as colleagues, go to our client and present a combined solution, and let's see if it works out. Maybe if the clients are being really receptive, well then down the road maybe there's an M&A activity or a more formal partnership. But right now we're seeing everyone scrambling to get the right people, and sometimes that means going to even someone who's been a competitor and say, together we can present a solution to the client that was twice as good as what either of us could do. So I think there's that opportunity based on all of the really unique and strong providers that we have featured in our Provider Lens studies, I believe there's a really good mix here, especially around SAP, around Salesforce, around ServiceNow, some of the big tools that people are implementing or worried about. In the case of SAP, there's lots of players here in Brazil that are really good partners and ready to do something different. So let me ask you a question. One of the things that distinguishes ISG Provider Lens is that we've got a set of 800 advisors around the world. And although I've got really smart analysts, we don't rely just on what their experience is. They talk to the advisors and say what's going on with the client, what are they buying, where are their problems, where are their concerns, what are they trying to achieve. And so what is the result in our Provider Lens reports is an on-the-ground, everyday, who are the best providers. And that really distinguishes us across the world from the other analyst firms. So you've got both here in Brazil, you've got a set of really great advisors that I've met, and they're having experiences every day with their clients. You've got the IPL analysts. How are they interacting, and how are you seeing that make a difference in Brazil?
Na verdade, a origem nossa é de consultoria, dos advisors, como você comentou. A gente tinha uma demanda muito grande por ter essa informação do mercado brasileiro. Então a gente vem de um lado de demanda, de saber que tipo de informação a gente precisa para produzir essa informação. Então a gente usa a informação dos 800 advisors da ISG, dos analistas globais, mas mais do que isso, o mais importante é que os nossos analistas locais vão entrevistar os clientes, vão entrevistar os fornecedores e os consultores da TGT que estão atuando em clientes e empresas finais, que estão fazendo processos de seleção, estão apoiando e dando feedback, retroalimentando os analistas para definir o melhor provedor. Porque isso é dinâmico, né? Um bom provedor no ano de 2020 não necessariamente está com essa performance em 2021 e 2022. Então essa atualização dinâmica é muito importante e a gente tem tido essas informações com bom resultado.
Fantastic. Well, we've got an exciting year in 2022. We're expanding to 18 different studies here in Brazil.
Yes.
How do you think the market is going to react to more studies looking at specifically the Brazilian market?
O que a gente aprendeu também ao longo desses anos é que o valor do trabalho está nos nichos. Quanto mais a gente fragmenta ou mais nicho a gente estuda, maior o valor da informação. Então a gente tem respondido à demanda tanto das empresas que pedem relatórios mais detalhados, quanto dos fornecedores de tecnologia que se distinguem em pequenas especialidades. Então, é muito importante a gente está com uma expectativa muito alta, porque a gente entende que nós vamos endereçar questões muito específicas, o valor está no nicho. Então eu acho que vai ser um ano bem bacana, bem desafiador, são 18 estudos, um ano confuso no Brasil, um ano diferente, mas a gente está muito otimista, do que o crescimento continue acelerado.
Terrific. Thank you for the opportunity to talk today and for the visit here to Brazil. It's been fantastic.
Muito obrigado por vir, muito obrigado pela parceria com a TGT e venha sempre.